Hey TMFG community, John Yonge here with Carlo Cancino. Remember, if you do enjoy our content, like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We love doing these videos for you. In today's episode of Ask TMFG, we're going to be taking a look at how can you financially prepare for some of life's emergencies. And Carlo, I know you and I have seen it firsthand with a lot of our clients, and we know that life can come at you quick, and it comes with a lot of costs associated. So what can Canadians be doing now to get themselves prepared for some of these emergencies?
Yep. No, let's start with, it's a bit of a juxtaposition.
Yes.
Financial emergency planning. An emergency by definition is essentially a very serious, unexpected event. So How do you do that? Well, many things can occur, and we've seen it all, like you were saying, in our practice, where there are premature deaths in the family, disabilities, accidents that can throw a financial plan into a complete tailspin.
Yep.
So unless you've got the contingency plans in place, you can find yourselves in a very difficult position financially. So in most cases, we typically start with having some level of emergency fund, having a cash reserve set aside of typically 3 to 6 months of after-tax living expenses, so that if there is a break to regular income, you don't have to stop your regular living, or your lifestyle will not change. You've got 3 to 6 months worth of spending money to essentially live the same lifestyle.
Yeah, and what that also helps avoid is having to start to dip into a tax-free savings account or an RSP, or your more long-term focused investments, because now you have that cash on hand and readily available. And it also doesn't force you to dip into any sort of debt. Obviously, with interest rates being as high as they are, we're trying to avoid trying to dip into that debt as much as we can. But that's more on the day-to-day and emergency planning. But then when it comes to a financial plan, there's a lot that can go wrong in the course of 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And everything may seem rosy if you continue working in your position and everything's going well and everyone's staying healthy. But we know life throws curveballs at you. So one of the ways that we try to prepare for those curveballs is through insurance. And insurance is a pretty valuable tool for a lot of Canadians. Typically, the younger you are when you're applying for it, it's probably the better off it's going to be for you, because you're more healthier. You are going to be able to lock in some lower premiums over a long course of time. And for any really young Canadians that are working and just getting started, maybe just starting a family, you should be considering life insurance, which is going to cover the value of your life over the course of the next 20, 30 years while you're paying down debts, while you're putting your kids through school. Because if anything were to happen to you, life insurance is going to pay out to cover your surviving spouse, cover the children you're leaving behind. So life insurance is pretty much a no-brainer. Every Canadian that is working should be considering it. But then on the other side of that is we've run into scenarios where some people may have gotten sick, still living, but are sick and unable to work. And that's where disability or critical illness insurance comes into play as well. So this allows you to then either make up for the income that you would have lost if you were to be on leave, or help you pay for some of those medical bills during that course while you are sick. And it's kind of weird to think now, but because medical science has been so good, life insurance has become less likely to get claimed on, and it's more disability and critical illness because people are still living. However, it does come with a cost that comes with that recovery period.
Well, John, I'm glad you brought up the two living benefits that we typically talk about: disability insurance versus critical illness insurance. What are the differences? So most people who are employed have some level of group disability plan. And essentially what that does, it covers income for a specified period of time if you are disabled, have a specific disability that doesn't allow you to work. So while you are off work, recovering from your disability, that income is going to pay for whatever length of time, typically to age 65. But that is a regular income that's very different from critical illness. And critical illness insurance, we've started to see a lot more. It's more common now as an insurance that people will purchase to cover those major illnesses that we're starting to see more of. And typically they are having a stroke, having a heart attack, or having some level of cancer. And the difference between disability and critical illness is a lump sum payment that is paid upon diagnosis of that critical illness. One of the benefits is, if you do recover from that critical illness, it doesn't get clawed back. You essentially get it paid up front for you to use for whatever you need it to do, whether you're using it to travel to try to find alternative means of medicine, if you need to retrofit your house to have a stair lift. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Having a stair lift put in your house just in case because you're finding it very difficult to walk. That lump sum payment is yours upon diagnosis.
Yeah, and they've become much more prevalent in today. But those are more primarily focused on the financial side of things, covering financially. There's also a legal side of things and legality that we prepare for in case of emergency, and that's primarily through wills and power of attorney.
Right.
Now that's something that a lot of Canadians are either trying to not think about,
right.
Pushing it down the road. You'd be surprised. We've had people that are 50 years old with a huge family and a lot to leave behind and still haven't created a will. A will is for when you are to pass away. So that goes through the estate. It tells how your estate will be distributed to the next generation. A power of attorney is more of a living document. So if anything were to happen to you and you're unable to act on your own behalf or make decisions on your own behalf, you're able to list somebody that you feel comfortable with to make those decisions for you, whether it be for personal property or for personal care.
Yes. These are the cornerstones to your estate plan. You need a will, you need powers of attorney. End of story.
Yeah.
There's no situation in which you wouldn't need a will or power of attorney. Even if you were single and did not have any dependents, you still want your assets to go to the appropriate people that you name or whatever charity you name with the least amount of friction from a government standpoint, from legal costs, and just going through the bureaucracy of getting that estate looked after. So will, power of attorney need to be looked after as a number one.
Absolutely. So I think we pretty well covered the three main factors I guess we can consider. First one being budgeting yourself for that emergency fund. 3 to 6 months worth of expenses that you have set aside just in case anything were to happen. The second one of that is insurance, making sure that your family's covered, your income producing capabilities are covered, as well as covering any sort of illnesses you may get over the course of your working period. And then finally, the wills and power of attorney, making sure your estate is being distributed the way you would like it to, as well as power of attorneys, having people you trust be able to act on your behalf if you're unable to.
Nobody wants to talk about their mortality. Nobody wants to talk about emergencies or deaths in the family, unexpected deaths in the family. It's important to do it. That's why we're doing this video. We want our listeners to know exactly what they need to be doing to set themselves up right, just in case that unexpected situation occurs. That's our episode for today. Again, as a reminder, if you do like our content, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please provide us with some comments. Let us know. Do you have any questions about insurance? What is critical illness? What's disability? Do you have enough? Or just let us know that you like our content and give us a like. Until next time, I'm Carlo Cancino.
I'm John Yonge.
And this has been Ask TMFG.